Hello. As I'm sure you're all aware, this particular TEDx endeavor is appropriately titled TEDxYouth 2020 Vision. And that may sound ironic coming from somebody wearing glasses, but while I may not have 2020 vision, I do have a vision for the 2020s. Now, when I sat down today to think about what it was that I wanted to speak about with this time that I have today, I thought of mind-boggling, earth-shattering ideas. But there was something that was really bothering me, something on a more personal level, something that a lot of people don't tend to think about. And that is the grow up or give up mindset. And I'm sure that you're all bursting with anticipation for me to tell you what that is, right? Yes. Yes. As I thought. But before I delve into that, I'd like to ask the audience a question. Have you ever heard, please raise a hand, the words grown up or mature used as a compliment to a child or a young person? Please raise your hand. And could you also please raise your hand if that is a compliment to you, if you see that phrase as a compliment when it is said? Interesting. Well, I'd like to look on a deeper level than surface level of this so-called compliment and delve into why it is actually harmful and creates a negative environment for children to grow up. The grow up or give up mindset is what I like to use when referring to the ideology put on young people when the pressure of growing up is put on them. So, for example, young people are expected to either grow up or to give up. Now, why is this? Why is it that the compliment that we choose to give to people, to young people, when they are well-spoken and well-behaved, is that they are a grown-up, is that they are mature? Well, I'd like to propose that it's for many reasons, but most prevalently, it is because of the media. You can check any tabloid, any newspaper, even the Netflix or Hulu shows you watch on a Sunday night at home. And in every single portrayal, there is a negative association of a rebel or a troublemaker or a nuisance as a teenager or an adolescent. And this creates a sort of stigma around being young. So much so that when older generations are presented with a well-spoken, well-behaved young person, they don't know how to react. And so they go for the next step up. They compare them to an adult because in their mind, no teenager could ever be well-spoken and well-behaved because they've never seen that. And this pressure can create an environment in which young people do not grow up to thrive. They grow up too quickly. This can present in underage drinking, underage smoking, recreational drug use. It can present as burnout from working too hard, or it can present in the most prevalent issue, and that is mental health. I'd like to direct your attention to the statistics. From 1993 to 2014, the prevalence of children with mental health from 16 to 24 has risen from 15% to 19%. From 1999 to 2017, the amount of 11 to 17-year-olds struggling with anxiety or depression has risen by 2%. I myself fell under this category when at 9, I developed an anxiety disorder. And these two statistics, I believe, go forwards to the give-up aspect of the grow up or give up mentality. And that's because this world does no longer accommodate the youth. Now, that's a controversial statement in itself. But when I ask you to think about the workplace, the schools, even the rising taxes, politics, this world is not a comfortable environment for young people. And statistics prove it. Schools, the very place that are meant to help young people, 1 in 5 students with a mental or behavioral disorder report having been excluded from their school. These children have no choice but to give up because they couldn't grow up. They have to give up their education because of things that they cannot control. And I believe that this may also be a factor in the most shocking statistic of all. Earlier, you were shown a clip from TEDx Salem in which a young woman spoke about how in Oregon there is a prevalence of mental health issues and how it is the second leading, suicide that is, the second leading cause of death in that state. But I'd like to raise your attention to something more close to home. In the UK, the #1 leading cause of death for people under 35 is suicide. And if that isn't proof enough that we are doing something wrong, then what is? So, my call to action is something that we can change ourselves. What exactly can we do about it? I, myself, am not naive enough to presume that I can change the world here today, because realistically, that's never going to happen. The universe does not yield for a 15-year-old girl from Doncaster speaking to a room full of people. However, while we cannot change the world here today, we can change ourselves. As the infamous butterfly effect goes, a butterfly can flap its wings and create a typhoon. We can be that butterfly. We can flap our wings and we can create a typhoon. We can be that tiny thing that creates a huge, non-linear impact in a complex system. But I propose we think bigger than a typhoon, because there is nothing more complex than the human mind. And that is something we can change, with something as simple as changing how we compliment young people. We cannot change the world, but we can change ourselves. So, the next time that you see a talented young person, the next time you go to compliment that thriving student, that impressive child's friend, that neighbor who's getting good grades, I don't want you to think, wow, that child is so grown up. I don't want you to use words such as mature and grown up to compliment young people, just as I don't want you to use words like immature and childish for poor behavior. Immature is not a bad thing, just as mature is not inherently a good thing. They simply mean fully grown and not fully grown. The youth are the youth, nothing more, nothing less. I want you to be a part of the change, because with one flap of our wings, we can change the world for the better and create an environment in which children can grow up to genuinely thrive. Thank you.